Speedway Report is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for Racers Reunion Radio. Well, NASCAR's double yellow line rule reared its ugly head again. IndyCar broke my heart with a bumbled finish yesterday in Iowa. Well, and a British driver proved at British Grand Prix that you can pass just fine in Formula One. All this and more. Welcome to Speedway Report, Monday, July the 9th, 2018, from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. Let's jump right into the Speedway Report Victory Lane Lap. A little debate last week. July 4th fell on a Wednesday. What's the holiday week? The week before, the week after? I will always go with wherever the Firecracker 400 is. And yeah, I'm old school. I still call it the Firecracker 400. The sponsorship of today, just too long to say. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup machines were at Daytona on Saturday night. 400 miles later, Eric Jones, driving the Joe Gibbs number 20, takes down his first career ever Cup Series victory. Saw him win the Winchester 400 several years ago. Nice young man, heck of a driver, heck of a future in NASCAR. Xfinity cars went to Daytona Friday night for 250 miles. Kyle Larson was your winner there. Those two races, I gave you the winners. Yeah, when we get to our topics a bit later, we've got a lot to say about NASCAR restrictor plate racing. NASCAR's best division, in my opinion, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, was up on the island in Riverhead, New York. Justin Bonsignor won the race. A great run by Ryan Preece. Two of them had a great battle. Doug Coby in third. I was not there, but I heard through the grapevine it is one of the best modified races they've seen in a long, long time. Indy cars were in Iowa. Good track, good series, great winner. The mayor of Hinchtown, Hinchcliffe, James Hinchcliffe, takes the checkered flag. Finish not what it should be, in my opinion, anyway. We'll talk about that in a little bit. In Formula One at Silverstone, the British GP Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari stood on top of the podium. Well, not the Ferrari, just Sebastian. He won the race. Got some stuff to talk about there. IMSA was north of the border in Bowmanville, Ontario. Colin Brown and Jonathan Bennett won that race for Core Autosport. Core is located not that far from Charlotte, just south in Rock Hill, South Carolina. NHRA was up in, well, close to my old stomping grounds in Epping, New Hampshire, which is the home of Star Speedway. I'm a stock car fans know. In Top Fuel Championship, leader Steve Torrance won yesterday. In Funny Car, Matt Hagan won for the second year in a row in New Hampshire. And in Pro Stock, Chris McGahey was your winner. Hopping over to the dirt, the Lucas Oil late models had a very busy week. Let's go back to last Monday when we were on the air here. Race fans were there in Hartford, Ohio. The real deal, Don O'Neill, took checkered flag in the A main. On Tuesday night, they rolled over to Zanesville. The tour did anyway. Greg Satterley was your winner on the third. They were off for July 4th. Supposed to run Thursday night in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but got rained out. The event is postponed until September. They did get the show in Friday night in Gaffney, South Carolina. Scott Bloomquist, your winner there. And Saturday night in Maryville, Tennessee, suffered another rainout. That was postponed. Last I checked, they did not have a date. When they do run that race, the winner, we'll talk about it right here. On the World of Outlaw Late Model Tour, Friday night they ran in Dubuque, Iowa. Brandon Shepard, great drive, pitted for a flat tire on lap 9 and only needed 31 more laps. He came back to win the 40-lap feature on Friday. And then Saturday night in Spring Valley, Minnesota, Mike Marlar sat in victory lane at the end of the night. Now, the sprint cars for the World of Outlaws ran a doubleheader up in New Richmond, Wisconsin. On Friday night, Brad Sweet was your winner. They did something really special, the tour did, on Saturday night. They ran a feature, the distance of 41 laps, remembering and honoring Jason Johnson, who lost his life a few weeks ago. Kerry Madsen took the lead late, about lap 38 or so, and wound up to win the 41-lapper. Also in Iowa, the ARCA Tour was there as they held a support race for the IndyCar weekend. Sheldon Creed won his third series victory of the year. USAC Sprints raced Friday night in Putnamville, Indiana. Tyler Courtney scored the A main. In Grandview, Pennsylvania, the small block modified feature Saturday night was won by Craig Von Doren. And Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina was off as they take traditionally the Independence Day weekend Saturday night off as a little break from the midway point of their season. That freed the schedule up for the Southern Modified Racing Series, as they usually do. Run Independence Day Saturday night in Asheboro, North Carolina. The Rusty Hart Memorial. Tim Brown was the winner of that 71-lap feature, remembering Rusty Hart's number that he ran in late model racing. Now, let's talk about some of the hot topics that popped up from the restrictor plate world in Daytona Beach. Where do you want to begin? I know where I'd like to begin. This double yellow line rule came up again. All kinds of infighting on the Twitterverse. The keyboard warriors were out in full force, and I don't get why. If you didn't see the finish of the Xfinity race on Friday night, 250 miles. Great finish coming down door to door. Justin Haley running in third behind the two leaders side by side. Swoop from the outside to the inside. Brilliant, almost brilliant, three-wide move. Let him to the stripe, to the checkered flag first. Evidently, at that moment, the winner of the race. Fantastic move. However, he was bounced as the last car on the lead lap because his left side tires crossed the double yellow line on the bottom. Let's review this. You cannot go below the double yellow line to advance your position. He did. Plain and simple. The left side tires of the car have to clear the left side stripe of the two yellow lines that are on the apron of the track. This rule in effect at Daytona and Talladega. You are basically to drive and treat that paint like a wall. If you do that, you're pretty safe. Haley dipped his left side tires below the left side of the yellow line. Rule book is quite clear. There was some debate as to some folks whether he advanced his position or not, that when he actually nosed ahead of the lead of the race, he was already there before he dipped the left side tires below the yellow line. Here's where some confusion comes into play. If you are in the act of advancing your position and you go forward and then you dip your tires below the stripe, it's in the act of. You're bounced. You're penalized. This is going over in the rule book. This is going over in the driver's meeting. It's clear as a bell. There's black and white. Haley broke the rule. I like Justin Haley. Got a chance to meet him last couple of Decembers when he was down here in Charlotte for the Touring Series banquet. Great young man. Got a bright future in this sport. Simply put, he broke the rule. The rule is clearly outlined. Now, what people had their response and their undies in a bundle about is, well, I hate that rule. It shouldn't be there. Blah, 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 blah. I don't like the rule. And, we should do this. And what about Dale Earnhardt Jr. 15 years ago? And everybody calm down. Calm down. Take a hit. It's okay. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. What we're talking about is what Justin Haley did Friday night. The rule Friday night is clearly defined in the rule book. The rule was clearly defined in the driver's meeting. It's all there on tape. It's all there in black and white. There's no question. There's no judgment. There's no ball and strike call on this. As much as I like Haley, as much as I like the move that he pulled, he broke the rule and he was penalized for it. Now, what's the number one complaint among fans is that NASCAR is very inconsistent in their rule enforcement. Here was a rule clearly defined. NASCAR backed it up. Don't tell me if it would have been Jimmy Johnson, if it would have been Dale Earnhardt Jr., if it would have been Jeff Gordon. Doesn't matter. It was Justin Haley. This was the move he pulled Friday night. It was outlined clearly. Don't do this. He did it. I like the kid. I don't care for the rule personally, but it doesn't matter. I would love to just ignore all the rules that I don't like in life. All the laws. Wouldn't that be wonderful if we just did that? I don't like that law. so I'm not going to follow it, and it's going to be okay. That's not how it works. Here's the rule. Whether you like this rule or not is irrelevant. Does not matter. I don't like the rule. Doesn't matter. This is the rule. It is clearly enforced. There's no problem. Play by the same rules, as Ernie Saxton quoted on a Facebook post that I did about this, which is cool to have him comment about this. Now, Haley's move this past year reminded me of a couple of brilliant moves that did stick in years past. Dale Earnhardt pulled a move in the IROC finish of 1992, I believe. There have been truck finishes. I believe Robert Presley won a truck race like this. And as I was thinking myself, as well as somebody pointed out on Twitter, it was Mike Joy, this was very Ronnie Bouchard-like from the 1981 Talladega 500. Where my heart breaks for Haley is that he had enough room to make this pass on this three-wide finish that he did not need to dip his left side tires over the yellow line, the double yellow line. He did not need to do that. He had the room to his right as far as the pavement went, that there was no crashing. He didn't have to bump his way by anybody. There was room for Haley to move up the track, still make this move, they'll make this pass, and win the race. And it would have been fantastic. The kid's got a bright future. Great here, folks. The rule is about NASCAR. They ought to be commended on this one, that they got it right. They actually enforce the rule. There's no judgment. It's black and white. Don't get me started with how much you like the rule or should like or not like the rule, or if it was somebody else. It wasn't anybody else. It was Haley. I don't like the rule either. For me personally, I think you ought to scrape the double yellow lines off the track, and if it's paved there, it's fair game to run on it. If these guys wreck each other, that's not NASCAR's fault or NASCAR's problem. That's their problem. They're driving the cars. NASCAR is not. Haley, love you. You broke the rule. You got penalized. I'm okay with it. It's what it is. Iowa. The Iowa Corn 300. Indy cars. Sunday afternoon. Only 2 cautions in this race. The second caution flying with about 7 laps to go for debris. Yet somehow we cannot restart this race and it ends under yellow. God, I hate that. I am probably I don't know about in the podcast world. I think I'm pretty vocal against the gimmicks in all forms of auto racing. The NASCAR playoffs are a dead horse to me. NASCAR stages are a dead horse to me. I don't know how much more I can bury those things. But all races to me should finish under green. Period. If you want to draw a stick and ball comparison, which I hate doing, but I'm going to do now, is we go into overtime in the stick and ball world. You have extra innings, you have overtime, what have you, because you have a tie score. Well, in auto racing, you don't have a tie score. However, if you want to draw the stick and ball parallel, in the stick and ball world, you go into overtime because you do not yet have a winner. The score is tied. You don't have a winner. If cars are cruising around under caution and we hit the distance of the race, we do not have a winner. We're not under green. We should wave the checkered flag under a green flag. There's lots of ways to do this. One is overtime, which some people get into the gimmick factor. I don't know if I qualify that as a gimmick, but I'll give it to you a little bit. I like finishing under green. However, what about the simple red flag that could have been used? IndyCar has a system for restarts, for opening the pits, for cars going around the track for the wave around. I don't like the wave around either, another story. But you get where I'm going with it. Is they have a system. So when the caution flies with 7 laps to go, you know how quick the caution laps are at Iowa. You know what your system takes. Why don't you just stop the race right then and there? Fans deserve to finish a race under green. On television, on radio, in the grandstands, especially when we're only 7 laps left in this thing. And for debris, why can we not clean a track up in 7 laps? And if it is that big a deal with destruction of fiberglass or carbon fiber, why don't we red flag this thing and give them a few laps to finish it? It should end under green. As a race fan growing up, I hated that rule where races could end under caution. And I saw plenty as a big NASCAR fan growing up, so many races ending under caution. I hate gimmicks, but finishing a race under caution is awful. It is terrible. It shouldn't happen ever. Period. IndyCar, you should have red flagged this, or you should have given some extra laps to it. There needs to be a concession here. We do double points for Indianapolis, and they do double points for Sonoma. Formula One has a double points final race. NASCAR is nothing but a circus now. So I don't want to go down the gimmick road, but holy mackerel, 7 laps for debris, and we can't get at least a 1-lap green flag run to the checkered? That's inexcusable. And what surprised me was how many people were actually okay with it. If you're okay with a race finishing under caution, okay, I'm not going to criticize you. But I sure as hell ain't. No race should ever finish under caution. It drives me nuts. It did for years. I've seen Daytona 500s end under yellow. Indianapolis 500s end under yellow. It sucks. The race fan inside of me wants to scream. What little hair I have left, I'll pull out. That race should have ended under green. They got to look at their system. That was bad to me. You won't get a thumbs up from me on that one. Now, with all the action down in Daytona, with the yellow flag rule that raised the ire of the entire Twitterverse on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Cup race on Saturday was a wreck fest. But what I found interesting was the headlining names that got taken out. The usual guys had some serious damage, and we saw a whole slew of new people up front. When you've got Joey Gase and DJ Kennington and Casey Kane in that Levine car, and Michael McDowell, all up in the top 10, the top 5. McDowell, I think, led the second most laps of the race. I found that fascinating. I was rooting for one of those big underdogs to take the checkered flag. I thought that would have been cool. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I think he had a police escort back to the driver's motor coach lot. There were plenty of guys that wanted to whip his ass on Saturday night, and I get why. The first one, that big pileup, I'm going to excuse Stenhouse for. William Byron threw the block on Keselowski, and Stenhouse was already against his bumper. Kes had to get on the brakes. That sent Stenhouse into his back bumper, turned him around in front of the field. So I give him a pass on that one. That second one, he lost it. Went up into Kyle Busch and took out William Byron again. Rough night for Stenhouse, and a lot of people wanted to beat him. I'm not getting out there in a restrictor plate race. I can't tell you how. I can't tell you how to do that. So I know air moves those cars around a lot, and it's easy to bash these guys from the television set. So, Ricky, you want to come on the show here? I'll still welcome you on. Big hat tip goes to Steve Wade. He was named the 8th award recipient of the Squire Hall Award. This will be given to him in 2019 in January here in Charlotte at the NASCAR Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I used to read Wade's stuff I first heard of him back in the 1980s when I was subscribed to Grand National Scene. He was a columnist then. Loved reading his work. Since I moved down here, got into the media end of the sport, got a chance to meet him, to know him a little bit. Fantastic guy. I love hearing his stories. Love that he's being honored with the Squire Hall Award. Steve Wade, one of the best riders we've ever seen. Lewis Hamilton, I'll give him the drive of the weekend. Yeah, first lap spin at Silverstone, dropped to 18th. He came all the way up to, where the heck did he finish? I can't remember. I think it was 4th. Did he hit the podium? I don't remember. Great drive by Hamilton. Second? Jeez, I should have written that down. Anyway, he drove a hell of a race. Hamilton did a fantastic job, but he dropped to 18th and can come all the way almost to the winning spot. NASCAR's Twitter account, I don't know who's running this, but they showed a meme on Sunday saying, I think it was Samantha Bush just exhaling for a random shot of video, some B-roll, and they were trying to describe how there was no racing on Sunday. NASCAR racing is not a synonym for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. There's lots of racing on Sunday. We had the NHRA, we had Formula One, we had Indy cars, we had IMSA. IMSA is even owned by NASCAR, and they race in Bowmanville, Ontario. And the folks running NASCAR's Twitter account don't even know this. You see this come up from time to time. I don't know. It's usually an intern thing that thinks they can handle social media and Twitter just fine. They can't. They obviously can't. There was lots and lots of racing on Sunday. Yeah, NASCAR Twitter, you'd think if they're looking for someone to run it, I got it. Just drop me a note here at the bottom of the comments here on Facebook or wherever you see this on social media. Just send me something. I'll get the comment. I'll run NASCAR's Twitter account. I'll get it right too, because I know where the racing is. And yeah, I just because you ran on Saturday night doesn't mean my Sunday is free, especially when you got this show. No, there was lots of racing. There were thousands of miles on Sunday, and I loved them. It was good to see. Everyone, thanks for tuning in tonight. In between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. Now, this broadcast, as well as our past shows, are uploaded on the site. We also have a bunch of racing articles to read. Yes, I'm still working on that piece about Bobby Santos III. It's coming together slowly. Visited with him and his team at the Little 500 at Anderson Speedway earlier this year. I know I'm getting to it. But anyway, this broadcast that you're watching and our past episodes are on Facebook at the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds page, the Racers Reunion page. They're on Twitter at Speedway Pat or at Speedway Report. They're in the racersreunion.com forum. And as I talked about the website, speedwayreport.com. They're all posted there. If you are personally connected to me on Google+, LinkedIn, Facebook, and our new YouTube channel, they're all there, so help yourself. Thank you to everyone on our Facebook live feed for joining the conversation during the show tonight. I'll get back to all you guys shortly. A little busy with producing, hosting. It's kind of a one-man drill here, but I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. As always, go see a race at a track near you. Our grassroots ovals, drag strips, and road courses are the backbone and the foundation of the auto racing world. If Sunday afternoon dies, Saturday night is still pretty healthy. If Saturday night dies, so goes Sunday afternoon. Think about that. I want to thank all of our military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Ray City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at SpeedwayPat. On the Drag Racing List Facebook page next is Racing and Rockin' with draglist.com. You can join BP, JB, and BS, I love saying that, for your NHRA news and some really cool music. So on Facebook, head over to Drag Racing List right after we're done. We will be back here live on Facebook next week, Monday, July 16th, with a look at NASCAR Cup Modifieds, Xfinity, and the East Series, all from the Magic Mile in New Hampshire, Indy Cars in Toronto, Eldora's Kings Royal, short tracks, and a whole lot more. Thank you all for joining us. Hey, I'll see you next time.